I want to start today's video off by asking you a question. How many times have you carried the weight of someone else's decisions? How often have you found yourself lying awake at night, replaying conversations, wondering what you could have said differently, how you could have fixed things, or even prevented someone else's mistake? I'm here to tell you something that might be hard to hear. You are not responsible for what other people do. I want you to really sit with that truth. Feel the weight it takes off your shoulders. And yet, it's a truth so many of us resist. Why? Because we care, because we love, because we want to help. But in trying to take responsibility for someone else's actions, we end up tangled in their struggles, and we lose sight of our own peace. Today, we're going to unpack this idea. Together, we'll explore why we do this, why it's harmful, and how to step into freedom by understanding what is ours to hold and what isn't. Let's start with a story. There's a parent, let's call her Sarah. Sarah's teenage son has started skipping school. He's failing his classes, and his teachers are concerned. Sarah is a good mom. She's done everything she could to give her son a stable life. She loves him deeply, but every time he makes a bad choice, Sarah feels like it's her fault. If only I had been stricter. If only I had seen the warning signs sooner. If only I were a better parent. Does this sound familiar? Maybe it's not your child. Maybe it's your partner, your friend, your coworker, someone you care about deeply. And when they make a choice you don't agree with, it feels like a reflection of you. But here's the truth Sarah needs to hear, and maybe you do too. We can influence people. We can guide them, support them, and love them, but we cannot control them. People will make their own choices, and they will bear the consequences of those choices. This illusion of control, the belief that we should be able to fix, prevent, or manage someone else's actions, is a heavy burden. It keeps us in a cycle of guilt, anxiety, and burnout. And the harder we try to control, the more frustrated and powerless we feel. Why? Because we're trying to do the impossible. Why do we do this? Why do we take on responsibility that isn't ours? For many of us, it starts with good intentions. We want to help. We see someone we care about in pain, and our instinct is to step in. But sometimes those good intentions get tangled up with something deeper. Fear. Fear of being judged, fear of losing the relationship, fear of not being enough. I want you to hear this loud and clear. Your worth is not determined by how well you manage someone else's life. Your value is not tied to whether other people make the right choices. You can be a good parent, a loving partner, a loyal friend, and people you care about will still mess up. That's not on you. Another reason we take on responsibility for others is because it gives us a false sense of control. If we believe someone else's actions are our responsibility, then maybe, just maybe, we can stop bad things from happening. But life doesn't work that way, and trying to control the uncontrollable only sets us up for disappointment. Let's talk about what happens when we carry responsibilities that aren't ours. Imagine you're walking through life with a backpack. In your backpack, you're carrying the things that are yours to hold, your emotions, your decisions, your actions. It's heavy at times, but manageable. Now imagine someone else hands you their backpack, and then another person, and another. Before long, you're staggering under the weight of things that you were never meant to carry. Their fears, their mistakes, their responsibilities. This is what happens when we take on responsibility for what other people do. We lose sight of our own path because we're too busy trying to carry everyone else's load. And here's the irony. When we carry what isn't ours, we're not actually helping the other person. In fact, we might be robbing them of the chance to grow, to learn, to take responsibility for themselves. So, if you're not responsible for what other people do, what are you responsible for? You are responsible for your boundaries, for showing up with honesty and integrity, for communicating clearly and with kindness. You are responsible for your responses to other people, not their choices. Let's go back to Sarah, the mom. What is Sarah responsible for? She's responsible for providing a safe and loving environment for her son, for setting clear expectations and consequences. But she's not responsible for whether he skips school. That's his choice, and it's his responsibility to face the outcomes of that choice. This is where boundaries come in. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They're about protecting your peace. They're about saying, I love you and I want the best for you, but I will not sacrifice my own well-being to fix what's not mine to fix. Here's the good news. When you let go of responsibility for what isn't yours, you step into freedom. You free yourself from guilt, anxiety, and resentment, and you give others the gift of accountability, the chance to learn from their experiences and grow. But letting go isn't always easy. It takes practice, it takes courage, it means learning to sit with discomfort, to resist the urge to fix or rescue, and it means trusting that people are capable of navigating their own lives, even if they stumble along the way. So, how do you start? First, get clear on what's yours to hold. Ask yourself, is this my decision? Is this my emotion? Is this my responsibility? If the answer is no, then it's time to let it go. Second, practice self-compassion. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you stop loving or supporting the people in your life. It simply means you're choosing to honor your limits and protect your peace. And finally, remind yourself daily, I am not responsible for what other people do. I am responsible for how I show up. As we close, I want you to imagine what your life could look like if you let go of the weight that isn't yours to carry. Imagine the freedom, the lightness, the clarity. That life is possible, but it starts with a choice to release what isn't yours and to trust yourself and others to walk their own paths. So, let me leave you with this. You are not responsible for what other people do. You are responsible for showing up as the best version of yourself, with love, with integrity, and with boundaries. And that is enough. Thank you so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, then make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my future videos. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.